Inside a small, cozy cafe, the soft sound of clinking cups filled the air. The CEO stepped inside after years of silence, his heart heavy with regret. He thought he was just coming in for coffee, but destiny had other plans. Behind the counter she stood, the woman he had once loved, her eyes still carrying the same fire and pain he left behind. She froze when she saw him, memories flooding back like a storm. But before a single word could escape, a little girl in a pink dress ran up to him, her tiny hand resting on his knee. She looked up with innocent eyes and whispered one word that shattered his world. "Daddy." The room grew still. His heart trembled, his hands shook. He realized in that very moment what he had lost, and what he had unknowingly left behind. Tears welled in her mother's eyes. The cafe went silent, and the CEO knew this was not just a meeting. This was a second chance written by fate itself. Friends, life always tests us with choices, but sometimes love finds its way back when we least expect it. If this moment touched your heart, then please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Soul of Kindness, where every story reminds us of love, hope, and second chances. The cafe air grew heavy after the little girl's innocent word. "Daddy!" The CEO's eyes filled with shock. His lips trembled, and the phone nearly slipped from his hands. He knelt down slowly, trying to speak, but no words came out. The little girl giggled, holding his hand as if she had known him forever. "Daddy, you came back," she whispered. Her mother's face turned pale. She wanted to shout, to pull her daughter away, but her tears betrayed her strength. Years of silent struggle, lonely nights, and raising a child alone. All of it stood before her now, alive in this moment. The CEO's chest tightened. He looked at the woman he once abandoned, the love he had betrayed. And now, standing between them, was the child he never knew existed. His heart broke into pieces. He whispered, almost choking, "She's my daughter." The mother's eyes shone with pain and pride. "Yes, your daughter. The daughter who never stopped asking about the father she never met." The cafe fell silent. Strangers turned to watch, some with tears in their eyes. It was not just a reunion. It was fate demanding an answer. Friends, sometimes destiny makes us face the wounds we created. Not to punish us, but to remind us of the love we must fight for again. So if this moment touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Soul of Kindness, where every story is a journey of love, pain, and second chances. The CEO stood frozen, his knees weak, his heart racing. For years, he had buried himself in wealth, success, and empty victories, but nothing prepared him for this moment. His daughter, his flesh and blood, was standing right before him. He dropped his phone to the floor, knelt down, and wrapped his arms around the little girl. Tears streaming down his face. "I'm sorry. I wasn't there. I didn't know. I didn't know," he whispered, his voice breaking. The little girl smiled, wiping his tears with her tiny hand. "It's okay, Daddy. Mommy said you were a hero." Her mother's eyes overflowed. With tears, she had told her daughter stories of the father who was gone, never out of hate, but out of love. She had hidden her pain so her child could grow up with hope instead of scars. The CEO turned to the woman he once loved, his voice trembling. "I was blind. I was foolish. I chose pride over love, and I lost you. But please don't let me lose her too. Give me one chance. Let me be the father she deserves and the man you once believed in." The cafe was silent. Every heart in the room beat heavy with emotion. Some strangers cried softly, moved by the raw pain of a man begging for forgiveness, and a woman torn between hurt and love. Friends, life gives us wealth, power, and success, but none of it matters when the heart is empty. True treasure is not found in gold or diamonds, but in the arms of the family we almost lose. If this touched your soul, then don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Soul of Kindness, where stories remind us that love, forgiveness, and second chances are the greatest gifts of all. The cafe stood still. Time itself seemed to hold its breath. The mother's hands shook as she wiped her tears, staring at the man who had once broken her world. And yet, here he was, broken himself, begging for one last chance. Her little girl clung to his neck, refusing to let go. "Mommy, can Daddy come home with us?" she asked in her innocent voice, her eyes glowing with hope. The mother's heart shattered. She remembered the lonely nights, the tears she cried alone, the strength it took to raise a child without him. Her pride screamed no, but her heart whispered yes, because before her was not just the man who left, before her was a father her child had always prayed for. The CEO stood, tears streaming, and for the first time he fell to his knees before her. Not as a powerful man, not as a wealthy CEO, but as a broken soul. "I don't want riches, I don't want power. All I want is you, all I want is her, please. Give me a chance to spend the rest of my life making up for the years I lost. I promise I will never walk away again." The cafe erupted in silent sobs, strangers wiping their eyes. The woman stepped closer, her hands trembling. She looked into his eyes, the same eyes she had once loved, the same eyes that now begged for forgiveness. And then she whispered through her tears, "Don't break us again, because this time I won't survive it." She placed their daughter's tiny hand in his, sealing a fragile, painful, but beautiful new beginning. The cafe filled with soft claps, strangers smiling, some crying, as fate stitched back together what was once torn apart. Friends, love is not about perfection, it is about forgiveness, courage and second chances. Sometimes, the most broken stories turn into the most beautiful ones. So if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Soul of Kindness, where every story is a reminder that love never dies, it only waits for us to return. Welcome, friends. The cafe lights glowed warmly, but the real light was in the tears and smiles of three souls finding their way back to one another. The little girl, still holding her father's hand, looked up with eyes full of innocence. "So, are we a family now?" she asked softly. The CEO broke into tears again. He lifted his daughter in his arms, holding her close as though he would never let go again. "Yes, my princess. From today, I'll never leave you. Daddy is here forever." Her tiny arms wrapped around his neck, and for the first time in years, he felt complete. He turned to the woman he had lost, the woman who had carried the pain of two, yet raised their daughter with strength and love. With trembling lips he whispered, "I may have been a powerful man in the world's eyes, but without you I was nothing. With you and her I am everything." Her tears fell freely, but this time, they weren't just of pain. They carried the weight of healing. She finally allowed herself to lean into his embrace, and for the first time in years, her heart whispered that maybe, just maybe, love could be reborn. The cafe erupted in applause. Strangers who had witnessed the reunion hugged one another, some crying, some smiling, all touched by the miracle of love's return. Together, hand in hand, they walked out of the cafe, not as broken souls, but as a family stitched together by forgiveness, faith, and the innocence of a child's love. Friends, remember this: wealth fades, power fades, but love. Love is eternal, and sometimes it only takes one innocent word, Daddy, to rewrite the ending of a broken story into a new beginning. If this story touched your soul, then don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Soul of Kindness, where every story reminds us of the power of love, forgiveness, and second chances.